So in this box I'm supposed to have a true mini ITX NAS or server X99 motherboard from China. The motherboard also supposed to have lots of PCI Express expansion capability through mini SAS connectors. So let me take it out of the box and see what we actually have. With some struggles I managed to get two more boxes out of the main box without damaging the main box. The top one I can feel these are accessories and the bottom one is the motherboard. So let's start with the motherboard and then take a look at the accessories. Here we have a product warranty card, which is product guarantee card. It does not specify anything, so I guess it's just a gimmick. And here is a certificate of conformity. Again, I have no idea why we would need it, but it is Topton Technology Company Limited certificate number. I guess this might be needed for someone who wants to do resales of these motherboards. The motherboard itself, and down here we have I/O shield, which is painted and padded and feels rather nice. Finally, the motherboard itself. As you can see over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mini SAS connectors. I'm not sure which of them are PCI Express, which of them are SATA. I believe two of them are supposed to be PCI Express 3.0 X4 and two of them are probably SATA, but I might be wrong. Then, this being a mini ITX motherboard, we don't have much on-board devices. We have M.2 slot, PCI Express X16, couple of fan headers over here, USB 3 for the front panel, USB 2 for the front panel. Over here we have an onboard USB 2, which is rather nice to have some sort of installation media, front panel buttons and LEDs. This is a GLPC header, but what I don't see is TPM header, so that is a bummer because the motherboard might not support Windows 11 due to lack of TPM support. Then we have here two more 4-pin fan headers, and on top we have two DDR4 memory slots. Of course, some will say that on LGA 2011 version 3, X99, having only two memory slots is a blasphemy, because we have quad memory channel, but we utilize only two memory channels. Still, if the motherboard supports 64 gigs memory sticks, then we can have 128 gigs of RAM, and it would be more than enough for most of the applications this motherboard is suitable for. The power connectors are in the standard locations. For Chinese motherboards, we have 24-pin and 8-pin power connectors. And some of you probably noticed here a speed AST2400 chip, which is usually used for remote board management or BMC control. Unfortunately, on the back side we can see that there is no remote management interface. We only have two 10 gigabit Ethernet adapters. We have VGA output from this speed chip, and then we have two USB 2 ports, two USB 3 ports, basic input-output audio, and here we have a micro SD card slot. I don't know what this slot is for. It might be connected as a card reader to the motherboard, or it might be used only through the BMC for upgrading firmware. But what we see that there is no network port for remote management through this speed AST2400 of this motherboard, which is a shame. What I can also say is that these radiator fins over here are slightly bent, and these radiator fins over here are also slightly bent, and there are scratches on the radiator on this side, and this side. So apparently the motherboard was either not treated well, or the painting of these radiators is pretty bad, but we have what we have. Let's take a look at the back side of the motherboard and see if we have something more there. At the back side of the motherboard, we actually have an additional M.2 slot, which is very nice because not many mini ITX motherboards have two or more M.2 slots, and we have CMOS battery at the back side of the motherboard as well. This might be problematic if you need to clear CMOS, because once it's installed into the chassis, you might not be able to get to the back side of your motherboard to remove the battery. Regarding the VRM, I cannot say much without testing, but we can see that we have a somehow decently sized heatsink. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 6 phases, or maybe we have 3 phases with the doublers. And we also have VRM components on the back side of the motherboard, which are probably going to overheat if you install a high TDP CPU, because cooling on the back side of the motherboard will be pretty bad, and here we don't have any heatsink. In the accessory box, I bought every possible add-on for this motherboard, but you need to know that these extra come at an extra cost, and you don't get them by default with the motherboard unless you pay extra. So starting with a mini SAS to 4 SATA ports cable, and then we have this kind of PCI Express breakout card for 2 M.2 NVMe SSDs. And here we have one mini SAS to mini SAS cable, another mini SAS to mini SAS cable, and one more mini SAS to 4 SATA ports. Let me open a few of these cables and show how it works. Just as I expected, 2 of these are 4 SATA ports and 2 of these are 4 PCI Express lanes. So the SATA port, it's pretty simple. You just take this off, then you plug it in like this, and you have 4 SATA ports available for your disposal, and I believe these are SATA 3 ports. With this NVMe breakout board, it's a bit more complicated. You not only need to connect it with 2 cables, but you also need external power. In this case, it's SATA power connector, and I can immediately tell that this breakout board is of much lower quality than the motherboard itself. The screws over here, they are dangling and not properly installed, but that's not a big deal. Here, the power connector is flimsy, it's already flipping on and off, so it would be very easy to get it broken off if you're not careful plugging the SATA power on and off. So that's a bit of a disappointment, because these accessories are not cheap. This kind of mini SAS to mini SAS cable is used to connect the breakout board to the motherboard, and I believe you can connect only one of them if you want only one of the M.2 slots. Basically, one slots into the motherboard, the other one slots into the breakout board, and you get here 1 or 2 M.2 slots for your extra SSDs. I also know that there are cables for U.2 NVMe SSDs, so you can connect an SSD straight to this mini SAS port without such breakout board. Whether it works or how well it works, only testing will tell. For now, I have only unboxed the motherboard, so if you're interested in the detailed testing of this Topton CW-NAS-C612-20G motherboard, then subscribe to my main channel. The detailed review will be published there.